The morning sun rose over the gleaming spires of Vex City, casting long shadows across the grand library where Tom sat alone among towering shelves of ancient texts. His eyes burned from lack of sleep, but he couldn't stop reading. This particular scroll, yellowed with age, contained yet another reference to the mythical beings called humans. Tom traced the faded symbols with his finger. Most Solarians believe humans were just stories, terrifying mornings created by their ancestors about a violent species that destroyed themselves in a great war. But Tom knew better. Too many details matched across too many independent sources. Still wasting time on fairy tales, Scholar Tom. The mocking voice belonged to Professor Dax, standing at the entrance with arms crossed. His blue skin seemed especially bright in the morning light streaming through the high windows. "These aren't fairy tales," Tom replied, not looking up. 17 separate historical accounts mention human artifacts found in the northern wastes. All describe the same symbols. Dax sighed. "You could be doing real research instead of chasing ghosts. The council is reviewing funding next week. They won't look kindly on this obsession." After Dax left, Tom slumped in his chair. 20 years of research, and all he had earned was ridicule. The Solarians prided themselves on their peaceful, rational society. The idea that they might share ancestry with a species known for violence and destruction was uncomfortable at best, heretical at worst. Tom's communication device buzzed. He expected another warning from the university board. Instead, the screen displayed a priority message from Admiral Ray of the Solarian Defense Force. Tom read it twice, his heart racing. 2 hours later, Tom stood before a massive view screen in the Defense Force headquarters. Admiral Ray, tall even for a Solarian, pointed to strange patterns flickering across the display. "These signals appeared 3 days ago at the edge of our system," Ray explained. "They repeat every 4 hours, growing stronger each time." Tom studied the patterns. "What does this have to do with my research?" Ray pressed a button, and an ancient symbol appeared beside the new signals. They were identical. "This symbol was in the texts you published last year," Ray said quietly. "The ones everyone dismissed." Tom could barely breathe. "You believed me all this time?" "Let's say I kept an open mind." Ray lowered his voice. "My grandmother was a researcher in the northern wastes. She found things that never made it into official reports." "What kinds of things?" "Metal unlike anything we can make. Devices that still held power after thousands of years." Ray's eyes met Tom's. "And bones like ours, but different, stronger." A junior officer rushed in, her face pale. "Admiral, new signals. They're changing." On the view screen, the patterns shifted into clear mathematical sequences, prime numbers, then simple equations. No natural phenomenon could produce such patterns. "Someone is trying to communicate," Tom whispered. "Or something," Ray replied. "The High Council is gathering now. You're coming with me." The council chamber buzzed with nervous energy as Ray and Tom entered. 12 Solarian leaders sat around a circular table, their faces grim. First Minister Laura gestured for them to approach. "Admiral Ray tells us you're the expert on these myths," she said to Tom. "What can you tell us?" Before Tom could answer, the chamber's main screen flashed red. A Defense Force commander's voice filled the room. Multiple objects detected entering the system. Massive energy signatures. Their ships. Hundreds of them. The room erupted in panic. In the chaos, Tom moved to a smaller screen, watching as the sensors tracked the approaching vessels. Their formation was perfect, their coordination unlike anything he'd seen before. "They're not attacking," he noted. "If they meant harm, they wouldn't announce themselves this way." Ray nodded slightly, the only one who seemed to hear him. The lead vessel transmitted again. This time, the message was clear, ancient Solarian symbols forming words no living person had seen outside of historical texts. "We have returned. We are human." Silence fell over the council chamber. The words on the screen burned into everyone's minds. "We have returned. We are human." First Minister Laura was the first to recover, rising slowly from her seat. "This must be a trick," she said. "Some group trying to cause panic." Tom shook his head. "The signal comes from beyond our system. No Solarian ship has ever gone that far." The chamber doors burst open as more Defense Force officers rushed in with updates. The strange fleet had stopped just beyond the orbit of the outer moon. They weren't moving closer, but they weren't leaving either. "We should attack now," said General Kip, his hand slamming the table, "while we have a chance." "With what?" Admiral Ray asked coldly. "Our ships are built for research and trade, not war. We haven't fired a weapon in 200 years. Another message appeared on the screen. "We seek peaceful contact. We will send one ship. Please provide coordinates." The council erupted into argument. Some wanted to shoot down the ship immediately. Others suggested hiding. A few, including Ray, argued for meeting these visitors. "I volunteer to join the contact team," Tom said, his voice cutting through the noise. Everyone turned to look at him. "You," General Kip laughed, "a library scholar. I've spent my life studying human records. I know their language, their customs, at least what our ancestors recorded." First Minister Laura studied him for a long moment. "And if everything you've read is wrong? If these creatures are nothing like your ancient texts?" Tom met her gaze. "Then we'll still know more than we do now." After hours of debate, the council agreed to allow a single human ship to approach Vex Station, a research platform in high orbit. Tom would join Admiral Ray and a small security team to meet the visitors. As they prepared to board the shuttle to the station, a young woman approached Tom. "Scholar Tom, I'm Jane from Communications Division." Her voice was quiet but firm. "I've been analyzing their transmission patterns. There's something unusual about them." "What do you mean?" Jane showed him her datapad. "The syntax matches ancient texts, but there are subtle differences, like they learned our language from old records, but never spoke with actual Solarians." "That would make sense if humans have been gone for thousands of years," Tom said. Jane nodded. "I think I can improve our translation algorithms. I want to join the contact team." Admiral Ray overheard and studied the young officer. "Can you handle yourself if things go wrong?" "I completed standard defense training, sir." "Welcome aboard," Ray said simply. The shuttle journey to Vex Station was tense and silent. Through the viewport, Tom could see the massive human ships in the distance. They were sleek and dark, unlike the bright, curved designs of Solarian vessels. As they docked at the station commander met them with news. "The human ship is approaching. It's small, much smaller than the others." On the tracking screen, Tom watched as a vessel no bigger than their shuttle separated from the main fleet and moved toward the station. Its movements were precise, confident. "They know we're watching," Jane whispered. "They're showing us they have control." The station shuddered slightly as the human ship docked. Security teams lined the corridor leading to the airlock. Tom's heart pounded as the indicator lights changed from red to green. The airlock was opening. "Remember," Admiral Ray told the team, "no sudden movements, no threatening gestures." The inner door slid open. Tom held his breath as two figures stepped through. They looked almost Solarian. 2 arms, 2 legs, 1 head. But their skin was different, varying shades of brown and pink instead of blue. They were slightly shorter, more solidly built. Their eyes were smaller but intensely focused. The first human stepped forward. "I am Captain Mark of the Earth Fleet. We have traveled far to find you." Jane's translation device hummed as she adjusted settings, but the humans were speaking in near-perfect Solarian, only their accent marking them as foreign. The second human, wearing different markings on their uniform, spoke next. "I am Diplomat Lisa. We come with peaceful intent to reestablish contact with our long-lost cousins." Tom's research, his life's work, stood before him in living form. The myths were real. The meeting room on Vex Station felt too small with the humans inside. Though they weren't much different in size from Solarians, they somehow took up more space. Captain Mark and Diplomat Lisa sat across from Tom, Jane, and Admiral Ray, while guards from both sides watched each other carefully. "How did you find us?" Admiral Ray asked, his voice steady despite his obvious tension. Captain Mark smiled. "We never stopped looking. For hundreds of years, we've sent probes to thousands of star systems." "But why?" Tom couldn't contain his questions anymore. "Our records say humans destroy their homeworld." "We thought you were extinct." Lisa and Mark exchanged glances. "Not extinct," Lisa said. "Scattered. Earth was dying, yes, but before the end, we sent out colony ships. Many ships in many directions. We are from New Terra," Mark added, "one of 12 colony worlds established before Earth's final days." A third human entered the room, nodding respectfully to the Solarians. "This is Ben, our communications specialist," Lisa explained. Ben looked at Jane's translation device with interest. "May I?" he asked, gesturing toward it. Jane hesitated, then handed it over. Ben examined it carefully, then made a few adjustments before returning it. "Your syntax matrix was misaligned. Should work better now." "Thank you," Jane said, surprised. "How did you know?" "We had similar problems with the ancient Solarian texts we found," Ben explained. "It took us years to decode them properly." Tom leaned forward. "You found Solarian texts. Where?" "In the ruins on Proxima B," Mark answered. "An outpost your people abandoned long ago. It had star maps, language records, cultural archives." Tom's mind raced. The Proxima system was only mentioned in the oldest myths. If humans had found a Solarian outpost there. "May I see your star charts?" Tom asked. Admiral Ray shot him a warning look, but Mark nodded to Lisa, who produced a small device. It projected a three-dimensional map of the galaxy, with dozens of points highlighted in different colors. "Blue marks are confirmed Solarian outposts we found," Lisa explained. "Green marks are human colonies. Yellow are systems we've explored but found uninhabited." Tom stared at the map in wonder. The Solarians had always believed they were alone in the galaxy. "And the red marks?" Admiral Ray asked, pointing to 5 pulsing dots scattered across the map. Mark's face darkened. "Those are Ravager-controlled systems." "Ravagers. They're why we've been searching so urgently for other civilizations," Lisa said. "The Ravagers are an aggressive species that strip mines entire planets for resources. They enslave populations they encounter. We've been fighting them for 30 years, Mark added. They've destroyed 3 human outposts already." A heavy silence fell over the room. "Why tell us this?" Admiral Ray finally asked. "If these Ravagers are so dangerous, why not keep hidden from them? And from you?" "Because hiding won't save you," Mark said simply. "Ravager scout ships follow established patterns. Based on those patterns, they'll find this system within a year." The humans shared data about the Ravagers. Their ships, their weapons, their tactics. The more Tom learned, the more terrified he became. The Solarians had no defenses against such a force. "This is why humans maintain battle fleets," Lisa explained. "We've had to become warriors again to survive." Tom noticed how different the humans were from Solarians. Where Solarians moved with careful grace, humans had a contained energy, like predators at rest. Their eyes constantly scanned the room, their posture always ready for action. "We should continue this discussion with the full council," Admiral Ray said finally. "They need to hear this directly." As they prepared to return to Vex, Ben approached Jane. "Your translation algorithms are impressive, especially for a civilization that hasn't had contact with other species." "Thanks," Jane replied. "But they were failing with your language patterns." "Because we've evolved," Ben said. "Isolated populations always develop linguistic drift. I could help you update your systems." Jane smiled for the first time since the humans arrived. "I'd like that." Outside the station viewport, the human fleet maintained its position. From this distance, their ships looked like stars, distant, cold, and powerful. Tom wondered if the ancient Solarians had been right to fear humans. But now, they might be the only hope against an even greater threat. 3 days passed as the council debated what to do about the humans. Some ministers wanted to form an alliance immediately. Others remained suspicious, arguing the Ravager threat might be a trick to gain Solarian trust. Tom and Jane spent every waking hour with the human delegation, learning all they could. On the 4th morning, alarm sirens blared across Vex City. Tom rushed to the council chamber to find chaos. Admiral Ray was shouting orders into a communication device, while the council members huddled around display screens. "What's happening?" Tom asked Jane, who was working frantically at a console. "Unknown ships just appeared at the edge of our system," she said, her voice tight. "Not human design." The main screen showed grainy images of vessels, unlike any Tom had seen before. Where human ships were sleek and efficient, these were bulky and covered with strange protrusions that glowed an angry red. "Ravager Scout Formation," came Captain Mark's voice from behind them. He and Lisa had just entered the chamber, their faces grim. "Exactly as we predicted, but months earlier than expected. They must have detected our fleet's energy signatures," Lisa added. First Minister Laura approached the humans, her normally calm demeanor shattered. "You said we had a year." "We were wrong," Mark admitted. "I'm sorry." A communication officer called out. "They're broadcasting on all frequencies." The chamber speakers crackled to life, and a harsh voice filled the room. The language was unlike any Tom had heard, full of clicking sounds and guttural stops. Ben, who had entered with the other humans, quickly worked with Jane at her console. After a moment, a rough translation appeared on screen. "Solarian system. You have your human vessels. Surrender them, and your resources. Resistance means extinction. UAV says X. Silence fell over the chamber. "We should give them what they want," Minister Kell said finally. "Give them the humans. Save ourselves." "That won't save you," Mark said quietly. "The Ravagers don't negotiate. This is just their standard opening before attack." Admiral Ray studied the tactical displays. "What can we do? Our defense ships are research vessels with minimal weapons. We have orbital platforms, but nothing that could stop a determined assault." Mark exchanged looks with Lisa before speaking. "We can help. Our fleet is battle-ready." "Why would you risk your ships for us?" General Kip demanded, still suspicious. "Because that's what humans do," Lisa said simply. "We protect our own. And like it or not, your people and ours share a connection deeper than you realize." The debate raged for another hour until Admiral Ray silenced the room by slamming his hand on the council table. "Enough. The Ravagers will be here in 5 hours. We have 2 choices: face them alone and certainly die, or accept human help and possibly survive." Tom had never seen the calm Admiral so forceful. The council members fell silent. "I vote we accept the humans' offer," Ray continued. "Who stands with me?" One by one, most council members raised their hands. Minister Kell and 2 others refused. "It's decided, then," First Minister Laura announced. "Admiral Ray, coordinate with Captain Mark. All civilians are to be moved to the underground shelters immediately." As the chamber emptied, Jane approached Ben. "I want to help," she said. "I know our communication systems better than anyone." Ben nodded. "We need to link our fleet's tactical network with your defense grid. It won't be easy." "Nothing worth doing ever is," Jane replied. Meanwhile, Tom found himself walking alongside Lisa as they headed to the command center. "There's something you're not telling us," Tom said quietly, "about the connection between our people." Lisa's eyes met his. "There is, but now isn't the time." "When is the time?" "When we're all dead." Lisa stopped walking. "No, when you're ready to accept the truth. Your people have built your entire identity around peace and harmony. What we need to tell you might shatter that." Before Tom could ask more, Admiral Ray called them into the command center. Inside, screens showed the human fleet moving into defensive positions around Vex. Their ships formed patterns Tom had never seen before, layers of protection with the larger vessels positioned to shield the planet. "We have 4 hours," Captain Mark announced, standing before a tactical display. "Let me show you how humans fight." The next 4 hours passed in a blur of activity. Tom watched in amazement as the humans transformed the peaceful Solarian command center into a war room. Captain Mark directed his officers with quick, clear commands that left no room for debate. Admiral Ray stood nearby, observing everything with careful attention. "Your orbital platforms have good sensor arrays," Mark noted, pointing to a display. "We'll use them as early warning systems." "But they're research stations," Ray replied. "Not meant for battle." "Today they are," Mark said simply, and continued giving orders. On another side of the room, Jane and Ben worked frantically to merge human and Solarian communication networks. Their fingers flew across control panels as they built a system that had never existed before. "There," Jane exclaimed as the displays suddenly showed a unified tactical grid. "We can now track all ships, ours and theirs, in real time." Ben smiled at her. "Well done. Now our captains can coordinate fire patterns." Jane's face fell slightly at the mention of weapons. Ben noticed and placed a hand gently on her shoulder. "I know your people aren't warriors," he said quietly, "but sometimes fighting is necessary to protect what matters." In the center of the command room, Tom studied the human officers. They moved with purpose and confidence, their bodies showing no signs of the fear that gripped the Solarians around them. One human in particular caught his attention, a tall woman with short gray hair who seemed to command respect from everyone, even Captain Mark. "Who is she?" Tom asked Lisa, who stood beside him. "Commander Alex," Lisa replied. "Our fleet's most experienced tactician. 30 years fighting Ravagers." Commander Alex approached them, nodding respectfully to Tom. "Your planet's magnetic field is strong," she said without introduction. "We can use that to our advantage." Before Tom could ask how, the alert system blared. A young Solarian officer called out, "Ravager fleet dropping out of faster-than-light travel. 50 ships and counting." The main screen showed dozens of red dots appearing at the edge of the system. The 6-hour ultimatum had been a lie. The Ravagers had come early, hoping to catch them unprepared. "They'd always do that," Commander Alex said calmly. "Classic Ravager tactic." Captain Mark stepped to the center of the room. "All vessels, battle positions. This is not a drill." Through the command center windows, Tom could see human ships moving with incredible precision, forming what Mark called a defense sphere around the planet. "Your people should study this," Lisa told Tom. "This is how humans have survived against the Ravagers for decades." The first Ravager attack came swiftly. Strange energy beams lanced toward the planet, only to be intercepted by human vessels that moved into their path at the last moment. "Shields holding at 80%, called out a human officer. "Returning fire." The human ships fired weapons Tom had never seen before, brilliant pulses of energy that seemed to bend around obstacles to find their targets. 3 Ravager ships exploded in silent bursts of light. "How is this possible?" Admiral Ray asked, his voice hushed. "Adaptive targeting systems," Commander Alex explained. "We developed them after losing 2 colonies to Ravager attacks." The battle intensified. Several human ships took heavy damage, their hulls glowing red where Ravager weapons had struck. But they continued fighting, moving to protect both the planet and the few Solarian defense vessels that had joined the battle. Tom noticed a pattern in the human tactics. They were willing to take damage themselves to protect others. When a Ravager vessel targeted a Solarian research ship that had strayed too close to the fighting, 2 human cruisers immediately moved to shield it, taking hits in the process. "Why do they do that?" Tom asked Commander Alex. "Risk themselves for us." Alex's eyes remained on the tactical display as she answered. Because that's what makes us human. We protect what matters, no matter the cost. A massive explosion lit up the display. One of the largest human ships had rammed a Ravager vessel that was breaking through the defensive line. "The Phoenix is down," a human officer reported, voice steady despite the loss. "They took 3 Ravager ships with them." Jane gasped. "How many people were on that ship?" 327, Ben answered quietly. "All of them knew what they signed up for." Tom watched the battle continue, seeing humanity in a new light. The myths had called them dangerous, violent, destructive. But what he witnessed now was something else entirely, a fierce, unbreakable will to protect. The battle raged for 18 hours. Tom had never known such exhaustion, yet the humans fought on with seemingly endless reserves of energy. 7 more human ships had been lost, but the Ravager fleet was in retreat, their remaining vessels limping away from Vex. In the command center, cheers erupted from both Solarians and humans. People embraced, cried, and collapsed in relief. Admiral Ray clasped hands with Captain Mark in a gesture of profound gratitude. "We would have been destroyed without you," Ray said simply. Mark nodded, his face showing both satisfaction and deep weariness. "The Ravagers will be back. They always return with larger numbers." "Then we'll be ready," Ray replied with new resolve. As the immediate crisis passed, Commander Alex approached Tom and Admiral Ray. "It's time we talked," she said, privately. They moved to a small conference room adjacent to the command center. Lisa joined them, along with First Minister Laura, who had emerged from the secure bunker once the battle ended. "What I'm about to tell you will change how you view your own history," Commander Alex began once the door closed. "Are you prepared for that?" First Minister Laura straightened her shoulders. "After what we just witnessed, I think we can handle the truth." Alex nodded to Lisa, who activated a small device. It projected an image of what appeared to be an ancient document. Tom recognized it immediately. "That's the Genesis text," he exclaimed. "Our oldest historical record." "Yes," Alex said, "but it's not what you think it is. It's not a religious text or a creation myth. It's a mission log." "A what?" Admiral Ray asked. "A record of the Gardner Protocol," Lisa explained. "A human project from before Earth's final days." Alex continued, her voice steady. 12,000 years ago, Earth was dying. Not from war, as your myths suggest, but from environmental collapse. Humans knew we needed to ensure our species' survival. "So we sent colony ships to other worlds," Lisa added. "But we did more than that. We experimented." Tom felt a chill run down his spine. "What kind of experiments?" "Genetic modification," Alex said. "We created variations of humanity designed to thrive in different environments. Some were made stronger to survive high-gravity worlds. Others were adapted for aquatic environments. And some," Lisa said, looking directly at the Solarians, "were designed to be more peaceful, more cooperative, less aggressive. These modified humans were meant to build societies based on harmony rather than competition." The room fell silent as understanding dawned on the Solarians' faces. "You're saying," First Minister Laura began, then couldn't continue. "Yes," Commander Alex confirmed. "Solarians are a branch of humanity. Genetically modified humans, designed to emphasize cooperation, empathy, and peaceful coexistence. The blue skin was a marker to distinguish you from baseline humans." Tom felt the room spin around him. Everything he had studied, everything he had believed about Solarian uniqueness. "We found records of the project when we discovered the outpost on Proxima B," Lisa continued gently. "It was a monitoring station, meant to track the development of modified human colonies without interfering." "Why tell us this now?" Admiral Ray asked, his voice hoarse. "Because you need to understand what you're truly capable of," Alex replied. "The genetic modifications dampened Solarian aggression and heightened your cooperative instincts. But the core of human adaptability, innovation, and determination is still within you." Tom thought about the battle they had just witnessed. The courage of the human crews, their willingness to sacrifice for others. Perhaps those traits weren't so alien after all. Our ancestors created you hoping to preserve the best parts of humanity, Lisa said, to see if a society could thrive without the violence and destruction that plagued Earth. And we have thrived, First Minister Laura said firmly. For thousands of years, we've built a civilization without war, without the bloodshed that seems to follow humans. Yes, Alex agreed. In many ways, you succeeded where baseline humanity failed. But now you face a threat that cannot be negotiated with or understood. The Ravagers only respect strength. So what are you saying? Admiral Ray asked. That we need to become more like you. More violent. No, Lisa replied. We're saying you need to find the balance. Keep your commitment to peace and cooperation, but remember the human determination to protect what matters. Both are part of your heritage. Tom looked out the window at the damaged ships, human and Solarian, floating together above Vex. Two branches of the same family tree, reunited after 12,000 years. We are not so different after all, he whispered. 1 month after the battle, Vex City looked different. Human engineers worked alongside Solarians to build planetary defense systems. Solarian scientists studied human technology with growing understanding. In orbit, damaged ships from both fleets were being repaired in newly constructed docks. Tom stood on a balcony overlooking the city center, where a memorial had been built to honor those lost in the battle. Both humans and Solarians gathered there daily, leaving flowers and small tokens of remembrance. It's remarkable how quickly things change, Jane said, joining him at the railing. She looked different now, more confident, less hesitant. Working with Ben in the combined fleet headquarters had changed her. How are the new communication systems coming along? Tom asked. Better than expected, Jane replied. Ben says our combined technology will let us warn other systems about Ravager movements faster than ever before. Below them, a group of Solarian children watched with fascination as a human engineer demonstrated a small anti-gravity device. The children's blue skin contrasted with the engineer's brown complexion, yet their laughter sounded the same. Some still resist the truth, Tom said quietly. Minister Kell leads protests every day against what he calls human interference. Jane nodded. Change is never easy, especially when it challenges everything we thought we knew about ourselves. Admiral Ray and Captain Mark approached, deep in conversation. They had become an effective leadership team, with Ray's thoughtful strategy complementing Mark's tactical experience. The Council has approved the new defense fleet, Ray announced as they joined Tom and Jane. Mixed crews, combining our scientific knowledge with human combat experience. And New Terra has agreed to establish a permanent embassy here, Mark added, as well as a defense outpost to monitor for Ravager activity. Tom had spent the past weeks helping translate human records for the Solarian public. The full truth of their origin had been released, causing shock, denial, and eventually, a growing acceptance. The first joint ship is ready for its maiden voyage, Ray said. The Council wants you both on it. Us? Jane asked, surprised. You've become our best expert on human Solarian communication, Ray explained to her, and Tom's historical knowledge is unmatched. The mission needs you both. What mission? Tom asked. Mark's face grew serious. Our long-range scans have detected possible Solarian settlements in 3 other star systems, likely other branches of the Gardner Protocol that succeeded like yours did. They need to be warned about the Ravagers, Ray added, and they deserve to know the truth about their origins. The implications were enormous. More Solarian worlds meant more branches of modified humanity, each potentially developing in their own unique ways over thousands of years. Ben has volunteered to represent the humans on this mission, Mark added, causing Jane to blush slightly. Later that evening, Tom visited the Grand Library one last time before his departure. The ancient texts that had once been dismissed as myths now stood revealed as fragments of a much larger story. Commander Alex found him there, examining the Genesis text that had started his journey years ago. Having second thoughts about the mission? She asked. Tom shook his head. Just making peace with the past. Everything I thought I knew was part of the truth, but not all of it. Alex finished for him. That's how knowledge works. We build on what came before. Through the window, Tom could see the new joint vessel in orbit, its design blending human and Solarian elements. The ship had been named Unity. Do you think the other settlements will accept the truth as we have? Tom asked. Some will resist, some will embrace it, Alex replied. Just as happened here. But they deserve the choice. Tom carefully placed the Genesis text back in its case. When I was a child, I used to dream about traveling to the stars, finding other worlds, other peoples. I never imagined they would be family. That's the wonder of the universe, Alex said with a smile. It's always more connected than we realize. The next morning, Tom boarded the Unity alongside Jane, Ben, and a mixed crew of humans and Solarians. As the ship prepared for departure, he looked down at Vex. The world he had known all his life, now forever changed. First Minister Laura's voice came over the communication system. Unity, you are cleared for departure. Carry our hopes with you. Find our cousins among the stars. The ship hummed to life around them. On the bridge, humans and Solarians worked side by side, no longer separated by myth and misunderstanding. Course laid in, Jane announced from her station beside Ben. The stars beckoned ahead, promising new discoveries and reunions with long-lost family. Unity, Tom said, savoring the name of their vessel and all it represented. Let's go home.